You won't believe what has been hiding behind the Brown family's smiles. Secrets, hidden truths, and unexpected betrayals begin to bubble to the surface, and the outcome could change everything. Tension, heartbreak, and raw emotions collide in ways you've never imagined. Curious? Take a plunge into what the cameras have caught. You wouldn't want to miss one moment. Have you ever felt like that person you've trusted your whole life was hiding something big right under your nose? That gut-twisting moment when everything you thought you knew started to unravel? That's exactly where the Brown family finds themselves this season, caught between the life they carefully built on camera and the shadows of hidden truths that no one saw coming. It starts off quietly, like a whisper in a hallway. You see Kody trying to keep the balance, juggling commitments, relationships, and expectations, while the wives carry a weight no one outside the family can fully understand. But beneath the smiles, routines, and carefully framed camera shots lies tension simmering, a tension that's been brewing for years, just waiting for the right time to come up. Christine's frustration isn't about broken rules or jealousy. It runs deeper. It's the sting of realizing that someone you love might not be as transparent as you thought. Meri, often quiet but fiercely loyal, has a sense of betrayal that cuts through her in ways words can barely describe. Janelle, the rock in many ways, starts questioning not just Kody but the very foundation of the family itself. And Robyn, well, Robyn's about to find out even the most controlled life can be turned upside down when hidden truths finally come to light. Just imagine being in a house where each glance, each word, and each decision had hidden meanings behind. How would that even be processed? And to top that off, coming face to face with someone who kept you in the dark all along. Tension is almost palpable while the cameras roll. Secrets, old promises, and the unseen things that were done are coming together, and the consequences are far from predictable. You're left wondering, who will hold their ground? Who will break? And what does it mean for the family once the dust settles? There's an eerie sense of unease and nagging feeling that echoes in the heart of every person who has loved, trusted deeply, and then saw that trust questioned. It is messy. It's raw. And it's unmistakably human. This season, the Brown story is more than just reality TV drama. It speaks to the test of loyalty, transparency, and facing the pieces of life we would avoid. So sit back and watch closely, because what's about to happen is not really an episode. It's one of those emotional reveals that would make one go into a reflective mode, thinking about one's own family, one's own secrets, and the truths a person prays never find their way out. This is the point where the cameras capture more than stories' lives at their most vulnerable moments. And as the first scenes roll, you'll begin to appreciate how fragile, complex, and achingly real the Brown family's world has gotten. The hidden truth emerges. It started off like any other quiet evening in the Brown family saga, but we all know quiet in that world is but the calm right before a freaking storm. Whispers had been floating around for weeks, but nobody was ready for the bombshell that hit. You could feel the tension in the air, thick like humidity in July, and for once it wasn't about cameras or TLC drama. It was something way deeper, personal, and nobody expected to see that on TV. The fans were in a scroll, dropping receipts and theories and hot takes left and right on social media, but the real tea? It was way messier behind the scenes. And here's the kicker. Some of it didn't just question decisions, it straight up exposed actions that had been hidden for years. People were shook, but nobody could look away. And just when you think you've got the Browns figured out, the rug is ripped right from under your feet. The rumors were flying fast, like text threads in a group chat, going from zero to chaos in under 30 seconds. It all pointed to Kody, the guy we've been watching for years, the perfect plural husband in that glossy reality show reel, but the truth lurking beneath painted an entirely different picture. Insiders whispered about moves, sneaky behind-the-scenes plays, and some straight-up shady business nobody expected. Christine had her jaw on the floor. Meri looked like she had seen a ghost, and Robyn? Girl, she was holding it together, barely. But it was worse than the betrayal alone. It was the evidence, cold, hard proof staring everybody in the face. Receipts, messages, a handful of screenshots that leaked online, each one a dagger aimed right at the family's so-called perfect image. And let's be real, once the internet catches wind of something like this, there's no turning back. Fans were dissecting every frame of past episodes, piecing together moments that suddenly made total sense. Every awkward glance, every side eye, every staged smile. Yup, it all clicked. By the time you hear the full story, you're gonna wish you were sitting front row in the chaos. Here's where things get messy, eh? Kody's moves weren't just shady, they were calculated. There were layers, like onions, each one revealing more than the last. And it wasn't only about money or control, it was personal. Some moves hit families where it hurts, the kind of stuff that leaves scars you can't show on camera. Christine had been noticing the hints, small at first late-night calls, evasive answers, a vibe screaming something's off. But nobody could have predicted the size of the bombshell waiting to drop. Meri? She was feeling every ounce of betrayal in her bones. She'd been loyal, she'd been patient, she'd been standing there for decades, and then boom, hit with a truth that made her whole world wobble. Fans online were eating it up, but if you think she was over it in a week, nah, this was the kind of betrayal that sticks with you. And let's be real, watching Kody try to explain it? Pure cringe. You could literally feel the tension through the screen. This wasn't just reality TV drama. This was a full-blown emotional ambush, and everyone was caught in it. And don't even get me started on social media. Clips were circulating like wildfire, snippets of tense arguments, cryptic messages, and fans commenting like they were part of the family themselves. Everyone had opinions. Everyone wanted answers. The Browns had built an empire of smiles, staged scenes, and dramatic but safe confessions, but the real tea? It wasn't staged. It was raw. And it was messy. And if you're sitting there thinking, okay, this is just another ploy for attention, nah fam, it cut way deeper than that. Everything Kody did was under the microscope, and every single move was being analyzed. Some were calling it betrayal, some calling it genius strategy, but one thing was for certain: the family dynamic we thought we knew? Totally flipped. Every smile masked tension, every embrace had strings attached, and every public statement was starting to crumble under the weight of reality. And in the middle of all this chaos, one question lingered louder than ever: who could really be trusted? By the end of that first wave of leaks, the Browns weren't just in drama, they were in a full-blown storm. Secrets, betrayal, emotional gut punches, and the kind of jaw-dropping moves that make you sit back and go, wait, did that just happen? Christine, Meri, Robyn, they were all processing, all reacting, all holding on to what little control they had left. And the viewers? Man, we were all glued to every second, refreshing feeds, rewinding clips, trying to catch something new. Faces of betrayal. When trust crumbles, the real chaos starts, and nobody walks out unscathed. It wasn't long before the first confrontation went down. Christine cornered Kody in the living room, her voice trembling but sharp, like a whip cracking in slow motion. "You've been lying this whole time," she hissed, every word cutting like a razor. Kody tried to smooth it over, tossing excuses like a chef tossing salad, half-hearted, messy, and clearly failing. Meri's eyes narrowed from the hallway, silently judging every word, every gesture. Robyn hovered nearby, calm on the outside, though her clenched fists betrayed the storm brewing inside. The room was electric. You could almost hear the tension popping, like popcorn at that moment when a reality show reaches the breaking point everyone's been waiting for. And the wildest part? The audience online wasn't just watching, they were living it. Comments poured in, memes were born within minutes, and fans were dissecting every pause, every side eye, every stuttered sentence with the scrutiny of forensic investigators. A wrong word here, a slip up there, and the whole house could erupt into full-blown war. Meanwhile, Kody's explanation? A disaster wrapped in a tragedy. He spun the story, tried to make it sound logical, even tossed in a little charm, but charm doesn't fix years of hidden truths. And let's get real, when your audience is not just family but millions of fans dissecting your every move, charm goes out the window faster than you can say, "Camera ready." He was sweating, fumbling, pausing mid-sentence, classic signs of someone who knows the jig is up. Meri finally stepped in, her voice low, almost whispering, but carrying the kind of weight that made everyone freeze. "How could you think this was okay?" she said, every syllable loaded with betrayal. There wasn't just anger there, it was a deep, gut-level hurt, the kind that lingers long after the cameras are off. And the irony? They'd all been on shows for years, pretending to be happy, pretending everything was fine, but now, in this moment, the truth was raw, ugly, and unstoppable. And just like that, the family's flawless image started to crack, one heated glance at a time. It didn't end there. Side whispers, secret texts, and quiet meetings began popping up everywhere. Friends, family, even extended relatives were getting pulled into the vortex. And the fans? They were dissecting the receipts, the leaked messages, and the tiny hints in past episodes that made way too much sense. Social media blew up like a volcano with tweets, TikToks, Reddit threads. Anyone had an opinion, and some were just savage. Every clip, every look, every barely their sigh was evidence, a piece of the massive mosaic betrayal. Truth could no longer hide, and every glance, every word became the subject of a microscope. But here's where the tension got juicy. Christine and Meri weren't just upset, they were strategizing quietly, behind closed doors, plotting, deciding who to trust and who to cut off. Robyn, who'd always been so steady, started to crack. Her calm facade was slipping, showing glimpses of the raw emotion fans had been waiting to see. And Kody? He was in full panic mode, realizing the house of cards he'd built for years was collapsing, faster than a TikTok trend. By the end of Section 2, it was a different family dynamic altogether. Alliances were forming, tensions were boiling over, and every single interaction carried the weight of secrets exposed. The viewers weren't just watching, they were invested, screaming at screens, refreshing feeds, waiting to see who would break first. And trust me, the next chapters? Way messier. Way more intense. And way more explosive, because once betrayal hits this hard, nothing, and I mean nothing, stays the same. The moment word got out about Kody's secret marriage with Eliza, the whole Brown fam went sideways. I'm talking full-on chaos, text threads blowing up, whispers in every corner, and Meri, Janelle, and Christine looking like someone just punched them right in the gut. It wasn't just gossip anymore. It was reality crashing down on them like a ton of bricks. The kind of drama that makes you go, wait, what did he just do? Meri was the first to crack. She stormed into the living room, phone in hand, eyes wide like she'd just seen a ghost. "How long has this been going on?" she screamed. And you could see the raw, unfiltered betrayal dripping from every word. Janelle, on the other hand, was pacing back and forth, trying to process this, mumbling under her breath, "I can't believe he did this, not again." Christine, though composed outwardly, had that fire in her eyes, the kind that screams she's about to blow everything wide open. The kids? Forget about it. They were caught in the middle, frantically texting each other, sharing rumors, and piecing together what they'd seen over the years but never fully made sense. Every family dinner started to feel like walking on a tightrope. And the whispers? Oh, the whispers were brutal. Friends, neighbors, even the local church folks, they'd pick sides, and in an instant, the Browns' private world was public fodder. It was the kind of secret that didn't just shake a family, it fractured it. And people? They were watching. Every slip, every side-eye, every awkward conversation got magnified 1,000 times. Kody, on the other hand, was trying to play it cool, but he couldn't. You could see it in his body language. Shoulders stiff, a forced smile plastered on, and those little half-laughs that scream guilt. He tried to spin it like it was nothing serious, but the tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife. Meanwhile, Christine wasn't taking it lightly. She started digging, files, photos, receipts, texts, anything that could shine a light on this clandestine life of Eliza and Kody. And let me tell you, the deeper she dug, the darker the story got. What had started off as that single revelation quickly turned into a rabbit hole of lies, manipulations, and skeletons hiding in plain sight. And here's the kicker. Just when you thought the storm had peaked, up popped a new piece of evidence that threatened to blow everything even wider open. Everyone's loyalties were tested, and every single conversation felt like a ticking time bomb. The family dynamics had changed by then. Meri was pulling back, Janelle was suspicious of every word, and Christine? She was on a mission. But Kody? For the first time, he felt the heat, fully realizing how secrets have that nasty way of surfacing at the worst possible time. And through it all, Eliza's shadow loomed larger, proof that one hidden truth could unravel years of supposed stability. So, the question hanging over everyone's head wasn't just, what did Kody do? It was, how deep does this go and who else is caught in the crossfire? Every glance carried weight, every whispered word, every seemingly innocent interaction. And as the sun set on the carefully curated image of the Brown family, one thing was clear. Life as they knew it? Gone. When a secret hits this hard, there's no turning back. And trust me, this drama is just getting started, the ripple effect on the Brown legacy. But when the news of Kody and Eliza's secret marriage finally came to light, it didn't just shake the family. It sent shockwaves throughout the whole Sister Wives empire. TLC fans, social media stans, and casual viewers alike went into full-on meltdown mode. Tweets, threads, TikTok videos, you name it, everywhere, people were dissecting every look, every text, every wedding photo that might hint at what had been hidden. The Brown legacy, the picture-perfect plural family we thought we knew, suddenly felt like it was built on sand. Christine? She was playing it smart. While Meri and Janelle were stuck in the whirlwind of raw emotion, she started documenting everything. Photos, receipts, screenshots. She was building a case, and the energy? Electric. Fans began to notice the side eye when the cameras cut to her, the pointed comments in interviews. Everyone could feel the tension. Christine wasn't just reacting. She was strategizing how to expose the cracks that Kody had so desperately tried to keep hidden. Secrets like this aren't just family drama, they're legacy killers. And right now, the Brown family was on the verge of a full-blown implosion. The public narrative? Shattered. People who once cheered for the Browns were now questioning every relationship, every marriage, every smile captured on screen. Janelle's Instagram DMs were flooded with support, but also questions dripping with suspicion. Did you know? Was this planned? How long were you in on it? The fan base that had once adored them had split into camps, some sympathizing with them, some dragging them, others watching for the next plot twist. Kody was trying to spin it like everything was cool, but let's be real, he was fighting a losing battle. Every interview clip, every behind-the-scenes snippet seemed to betray him further. As the inner circle of the Brown family scrambled to regroup, the outside world was hungry for more. Reality TV thrives on chaos, and this was prime content. Meanwhile, Eliza's presence, even off-camera, became a talking point. Who was she? Why was she hidden? How did she fit into the Brown universe without anyone knowing? Rumors ran wild, and every theory seemed wilder than the last. Even TLC execs were sweating behind the scenes because, let's face it, a storyline this juicy was gold for ratings, but a family imploding? That's a PR nightmare waiting to explode. The Brown brand was never the same. Family dinners, camera smiles, and the perfect plural life image were all under siege. And the fans? They watched, analyzed, and waited for the next bomb to drop. As the weeks went by, that ripple didn't stop at social media. Old friends, extended family, even neighbors were picking sides, whispering behind closed doors. Every interaction had the potential to be a headline. And Kody? He had to come to terms with the fact that his secret wasn't just some private mistake, but a public scandal with long-lasting repercussions. By the end of it, one thing was certain. This was not just a marital secret. It was the crack in the very foundation of the Brown family legacy that would threaten to rewrite history and make everyone involved question what they thought they knew. When one family's legacy begins to crumble, the fallout isn't just emotional, it's explosive. And the world is watching every single moment. Unanswered questions and future implications. Even after the initial shock, the questions kept piling up like a wildfire nobody could put out. How long had Kody been hiding Eliza from everyone? Were there other secrets lurking in the shadows? Fans weren't just curious, they were straight up obsessed. Reddit threads were buzzing, TikTok users were piecing together every clip, and YouTube commentators were dropping theories like they were breaking news. The perfect plural family narrative? Totally shattered, leaving viewers scrambling to connect dots that may never fully exist. Meri, Janelle, and Christine all had their own ways of coping. Meri? She was in full-on protective mode, blocking reporters, dodging questions, trying to shield her kids from the chaos. But her eyes told a story she couldn't hide. Janelle, on the other hand, leaned into the tea, quietly giving fans subtle clues that hinted she knew more than she was letting on. Christine? She was the strategist, keeping receipts, tracking every move, and making sure the world didn't forget a single detail. Some secrets are hidden, some are buried deep enough to ever let the truth see the light of day. And in the case of the Browns, well, it may just explode at any moment. Social media wasn't just commentary, it became a battleground. Every rumor about Eliza, every photo leak, every vague statement from the family sparked a firestorm of debate. Is this another Kody plot? Was TLC in on this? How does this change everything we know? Fans weren't waiting for the next episode, they were creating the next episode in their minds, with conspiracy theories and what-if scenarios running wild. And last but not least, TLC itself. Producers were front and center for the fallout, and there was a huge mess to clean up. Insiders whispered that executives were scrambling to figure out how to spin this into ratings gold without completely destroying the family brand. Every deleted clip, every off-camera whisper suddenly had a magnifying glass on it, because when the truth begins to seep through the cracks, even the most minuscule hint can spark a storm, and no one wants to be that calm in the middle of the mess. Ultimately, what the Browns were left with was far more than just public scrutiny. They faced long-term consequences of hidden decisions. Family dynamics shifted, alliances were tested, and even the casual fans started to question whether the story they'd watched for years was real at all. The fallout from Eliza's revelation wasn't just a headline, it was a reckoning. The big question, however, lingered. Would the family survive this scandal, or would the cracks keep spreading until the empire they built came crashing down? And while the fans debated, Kody, Meri, Janelle, Christine, and even Robyn had to face their own realities. Cameras may stop rolling, but the consequences? They don't just fade away. Secrets like this one don't end. They echo, ripple, and change everything they touch. And the Browns story? It's far from over. Fan frenzy and media storm. The moment news of Eliza's existence hit the internet, the fan base went absolutely ballistic. Twitter threads went up like fireworks on the 4th of July, TikTok clips went viral with thousands of OMG I knew it comments, YouTube channels churned reaction videos out faster than anyone could click subscribe, and every snippet, every photo, every throwback clip was analyzed to death. Fans weren't just watching, they were hunting for receipts, decoding hidden messages, and basically turning sleuth mode on full throttle. Didn't stop at fandoms. Podcasts were inviting in insiders, bloggers were deep diving into old court documents, and Reddit threads became whole conspiracy headquarters. The people wanted to know, did Kody think we'd never find out? Was TLC covering this up? Which wife knew first? The speculation wouldn't end, and honestly, it was kinda addictive. When the internet catches fire, there's no putting it out, only dodging the sparks before they burn you. Meanwhile, mainstream media caught wind of the chaos and jumped in. Headlines screamed, "Secret wife scandal rocks the Browns and Eliza," the hidden story that changes everything. TV networks and online tabloids weren't just reporting, they were turning the story into prime-time spectacle. Every interview, every snippet of Eliza's life, every reaction from Kody and the wives was front-page material. The Browns' private life? Now completely public property. Fans weren't just spectators, they were participants. The memes flooded the feeds, reaction videos got millions of views, and superfans started creating timelines trying to track exactly when and how Kody's secret marriage happened. It wasn't just curiosity, it was a full-on obsession. People were invested emotionally, personally, and even financially, with merch, fan pages, and Patreon accounts popping up overnight to feed the frenzy. In reality TV, when secrets drop, the audience doesn't just watch, they become part of the story. And they never forget such scandals. The Browns were always a story of drama and controversy, but this was a new level. Every tweet, post, and comment became its own chapter, feeding the narrative that Kody had carefully tried to control for years. But social media doesn't forgive, it doesn't forget, and it certainly doesn't wait. It was a story that, by week's end, had mushroomed beyond the wildest nightmares of this family. Fans weren't just speculating but demanding answers, calling for explanations and making it clear the era of secrets was over. In this storm, only the strongest, smartest, and most strategic will survive. Every step counts, and one wrong step might turn the entire saga upside down when the world is closely watching. The family responds, tension hits the boiling point. The storm wasn't just online, it came straight into the Browns' living rooms. Kody knew this was beyond anything he'd dealt with before. Cameras might have caught him looking calm on the surface, but behind closed doors, the tension was off the charts. Christine was pacing like a caged lion, her eyes burning with a mix of fury and disbelief. Meri, meanwhile, sat curled up on the couch, silently scrolling through social feeds, each comment and post stabbing like 1,000 tiny knives. Even Janelle, normally the peacemaker, looked like she was ready to explode. Kody tried to keep it together, but the cracks were showing. His phone buzzed non-stop text messages from reporters, fan pages tagging him, even TLC producers asking for statements. The man who always seemed untouchable was suddenly cornered, and the family felt it. During dinner, tensions boiled over. Voices raised. Accusations flew. Eliza's name hung in the air like smoke, invisible yet suffocating. When secrets are dragged into the light, even the strongest facades crumble and the truth hits way harder than any person would expect. Robyn, normally soft-spoken and reserved, finally spoke up, her voice cutting and trembling. "How could this happen, Kody? How long were we all supposed to pretend none of this existed?" It wasn't a question but a challenge. The wives weren't seeking excuses. They wanted the raw, unfiltered truth. And Kody knew deep down that nothing he said would ever erase the betrayal. Tension spilled into private conversations, tense interviews, and chaotic family meetings. Each wife had her storm to weather, emotional roller coasters of anger, heartbreak, and disbelief. Christine's rage was quiet but deadly, plotting her next steps. Meri's sorrow was loud in its silence, haunting every corner of her home. Janelle's frustration was fiery, an amalgamation of protectiveness and raw pain. And Robyn. She made it very clear she wasn't just hurt but done putting up with the hidden truths. When secrets shake the very foundation of a family, all interactions become the battleground and each look is filled with unspoken words. The drama was electric even outside the house. Friends and former cast members started sharing their takes, and every rumor, every opinion, and every leaked detail just threw fuel into that fire. Kody's attempts to maintain control were slipping, and for the first time, the narrative wasn't his to shape. The fans and media alike were shaping it, twisting it, analyzing it, and refusing to let it go. The Browns were no longer just a reality TV family. They were a cultural phenomenon, and this was the epicenter of the scandal. In instances like this, the world isn't just watching, it's judging, reacting, and waiting for the next move. And in this game, hesitation can cost everything. The final confrontation, truth, tears, and fallout. The house was dead silent, except for the occasional creak of the floorboards and the soft hum of the camera crew lurking in the corners. Everyone knew this was at the moment where masks drop and the truth comes out. Kody stood in the middle of the living room, looking smaller than usual, like the weight of all his secrets had finally caught up. Christine's glare could cut glass. Meri's jaw was tight, knuckles white as she gripped the armrest of her chair. Janelle's chest heaved, trying to breathe through the storm of emotions. And Robyn. Robyn's face was a mix of disbelief and pure, unfiltered rage. "Enough!" Christine finally snapped, her voice thick with venom. "We've been living in your shadow for too long, Kody. Time for the truth. Right now." The room became colder than ice. Kody opened his mouth, but the words stuck somewhere between shame and panic. He tried to explain, justify, and spin the narrative, but nobody was buying it. Not now, not ever. When the lies break down, nothing is louder than the silence that then ensues. Meri stood, finally breaking from her shell of sorrow, and the room shifted. "We trusted you. We believed in you. And this is betrayal. Plain and simple." Every word landed like a hammer. Kody flinched, knowing there was no soft landing. The wives weren't just confronting him. They were reclaiming their power, their voice, and their dignity. Robyn stepped forward, eyes ablaze, pointing a finger that could have punctured steel. "We're done pretending. You've been juggling lies while we cleaned up the mess. And for what? So you could hide behind some secret marriage that no one asked for." Kody's shoulders slumped as the walls began to close in. It was a slow-motion collapse, the kind you see in movies but rarely in real life. Truth doesn't just come out, it explodes, leaving nothing intact. Outside, the cameras captured every flinch, every tear, every shout, but inside it was more than reality TV. It was real life, raw and ugly. The wives had reclaimed the narrative, and for once, Kody was the one being scrutinized, questioned, and held accountable. The social media storm outside was nothing compared to the hurricane inside the walls. Every betrayal, every secret, every hidden tape, it all collided in this one room, and nothing would ever be the same. As the scene drew to a close, the wives filed out one by one, leaving Kody to sit there, his face to the floor, the weight of truth finally beginning to sink in. Cameras lingered a moment longer, then faded out. And in that silence, the audience understood. Some family secrets can't be fixed, only faced. In the end, the toughest lesson to learn in the Brown family was that truth will find its way out, and when it does, it changes everything forever.